Hi everyone, I will present to you my work which is entitled A Multi-Fidelity Approach Using Discretization Error Bounds to Estimate the Probability of Failure of Structures. So my presentation today is going to be divided into 5 parts. I'll start off with a bit of context on reliability of structures, then I'll move on to classical computation of the probability of failure, and then I will present to you in a third part the method we've developed that tries to include discretization error estimation in the estimation of the probability of failure. In a fourth part, I'll assess this method on a numerical test case, and finally I will conclude and add some outlooks to my work. So a bit of context about the reliability of structures. So there might be variability or uncertainty on some parameters of your mechanical problem. And so you may model these parameters as random variables gathered in a vector X. In my case, I took the Young modulus E, the yield strength sigma E, and F, the loading on the structure. And so you may define as well a limit state function G that is non-explicit and writes G equal R minus S, with R the resistance, for example, the yield strength, and S the solicitation, for example, the von Mises stress at a given hotspot of the structure. So this limit state function defines the failure and safe state of the structure. So failure state if the solicitation is greater than the resistance, and so if G is smaller than 0, and the safe state when G is positive and when the solicitation is smaller than the resistance R. And so I said earlier that this limit state function G is non-explicit. It is because the solicitation might be the output of a finite element code. And so any call to G is also a call to the finite element code and is thus very costly. You may want to propagate the uncertainty on X towards the uncertainty on G of X. And a way to measure this new uncertainty is to calculate the probability of failure, which writes as the probability that G of X is smaller than 0. So there are many techniques to estimate this probability of failure. The first one that was developed is Monte Carlo estimation, and basically what you do is that you simulate the output of the function G for many realization of the input random variable X. The problem with that is that for a probability of failure of 10 to the minus 3, you will need approximately 1 million simulation of G, which is way too expensive to be computed with the FEM code. A solution is to use approximation methods such as form or SORM, but the problem is that it's not possible to control the error it introduces by approximating the limit state as linear or quadratic. Another solution to calculate the probability of failure is to use the stochastic finite element method. The problem is that it's intrusive to the FEM code and it may not be used for any industrial application. So we used Monte Carlo estimation as it is an unbiased estimator of the probability of failure. A way to improve its computational cost is to build a metamodel thanks to a few calls to the function G and approximate very quickly the solution G by a function G hat. In our case, we use the Kriging metamodel that basically model the function G as the realization of a random process of deterministic mean mu and plus a Z function that follows a centered Gaussian distribution. So what you end up with is a metamodel G hat, but also a standard deviation estimate sigma hat. With that, you can construct a confidence interval within which the exact solution should lie. When you use a metamodel, you introduce an error of approximation because of falsely classified points. Thanks to the standard deviation estimate, you can estimate whether your limit state is well known or not and add a new point close to it if it's not the case, thus improving the standard deviation estimate sigma hat, but also the number of falsely classified points. This is what allowed adaptive Kriging for Monte Carlo simulation that was published in 2011. So we wanted to apply this method for a numerical example that is a cracked plate with every parameter that is deterministic except for the crack length A that follows a beta distribution between 1.6 and 4.25 meters and of shape parameter 2. The hypothesis we use for this mechanical problem is small perturbation, a linear, elastic, homogeneous, and isotropic material, and plane strain. We defined the failure of the structure if for a given crack length the crack will propagate. Thus, we use the Griffiths criterion, which writes the function g of A, which is equal to 11 minus k1 of A. So the resistance in our case is 11 and is the resilience of the material, and k1 of A is the stress intensity factor in the first mode of cracking for this crack length. So for a given mesh that is homogeneous, you will obtain a different function g, and thus you will obtain a different probability of failure. So on the right, you can see a table of the probability of failure computed with AKMCS for a given mesh size. You will see also that there is a mesh size of 0 that is an exact solution that is possible for this mechanical problem. And so if you use a mesh size that is 0.5, you will underestimate the probability of failure by approximately a factor of 1000. This is very critical because it means you will also underestimate the risk by a factor of 1000. So what you want to do is to compute this probability of failure with precision while controlling discretization error, introduced by the use of a FEM code. So the strategy we used is that we wanted to choose the mesh based on the right classification of points used to build the metamodel. And so the strategy was to choose the mesh avoiding the top right corner and the bottom left corner of this figure. And we wanted to distribute the calls on different levels of fidelity in order to reduce computational costs, so like this, and build a metamodel that interpolates them. The problem now is that you need to assess whether these points are rightly classified or not, and thus you need to estimate the discretization error for any of these points. Before explaining how to calculate the discretization error, let's define the continuous problem as finding ux such that A of uxv equals L of v for all v in omega. Let's define the FEM problem as finding UFEM such that A of UFEM VH equals L of VH for all VH in omega h, a subset of omega. There are several indicators of the discretization error that writes as the norm over the displacement field of the exact solution minus the FEM solution. The first one is based on stress smoothing, the second one on residual, and the last one on the error in constitutive relation. Among these three techniques, only the last one provides guaranteed error bounds. This discretization error is impractical because what you need is the discretization error on a quantity of interest S. So this quantity of interest S needs to be linear against the solution displacement field U in order to compute guaranteed error bounds. You will also need to solve an adjoint problem that writes as finding UFEM such that A of V UFEM equals S of V for all VH within omega H. So this adjoint problem is very similar to the FEM problem, only the second member of the equation is different. You will need to estimate the discretization e-disc on both forward and adjoint problem by constructing equilibrated stress fields. You will end up with a bounding for the exact solution to the quantity of interest S between S minus and S plus. It needs to be stated that nothing guarantees that the FEM solution of the quantity of interest lies within the interval you've defined. For the quark plate, it was not the case. S of UFEM was outside this bound, so that's why we used the middle of this bound as the quantity of interest to compute the metamodel. So it was observed in the reference below that the middle of the bound is usually a better approximation than the FEM solution to the quantity of interest. When you use adaptive Kriging, you need to define the type of Kriging you'll be using, and we used ordinary Kriging in our case. We used a kernel function that is a Gaussian one. You also need to define a learning function that is the function U as defined for AKMCS. You need two stopping criteria, one on learning that aims at reducing and controlling the approximation error due to the use of a metamodel. In our case, it is based on U, and it writes as every x within the Monte Carlo population should verify U of x greater than 2. You also need to control the estimation error of the Monte Carlo estimator by a criterion on the coefficient of variation that writes COV on PF smaller than 10 to the minus 2. What we also added is a remeshing strategy. The most simple one would be to use adaptive remeshing based on error maps. A more simple one would be to use a mesh family, for example, a vector of possible mesh sizes between 0.5 and 0.05 meters. Because of its simplicity of implementation, we use the second techniques for our strategy. So we end up with a new algorithm. So for the initialization, you start by generating a Monte Carlo population PMC, and by initializing the design of experiment using a factorial experiment in our case, because the random variable is bounded. So for each point in this design of experiment, you will use a coarser mesh and call the G function and compute bounds for each of these points. You will then check, does the error bound go into the state of that point, or have you reached the finest mesh? If it's not the case, then you will use the next finer mesh and continue this loop until either you guarantee the state safe or failed of that point, or you have already reached the finest mesh. When it's the case for this point and for each point in the DOE, then you will build the metamodel G hat. Then you will compute the learning function U for any points in the Monte Carlo population. Then you will check, is there any points within the Monte Carlo population not verifying the learning criterion? If it's the case, then you will find the point minimizing the function U over the Monte Carlo population, and you will come back to using the coarser mesh and the remeshing strategy until you reach convergence on the learning criterion. When it's the case, you will compute the probability of failure using your metamodel G hat. Then you will check, is the size of the Monte Carlo population sufficient or not? If it's not the case, then you will enrich the Monte Carlo population with new points. Otherwise, you will have a converged algorithm. So what is new in this algorithm is first the use of a factorial experiment, but it's only because we use bounded random variables. What is actually new compared to AKMCS is this remeshing strategy on the right. Then we use this strategy with the test case presented before of the crack plate. We define 5 levels of fidelity between 0.5 and 0.05 meters. We started with AKMCS on the fine mesh 0.05 meter and obtained a probability of failure of 5.1 10 to the minus 3. The CPU time was about 13,000 seconds, and we did the same strategy presented before with 2 levels of fidelity, the coarse mesh and the fine mesh 0.5 meter and 0.05 meter, and obtained the same probability of failure with CPU time approximately divided by 2. So I plotted on the right the metamodel for this simulation, and you can see in green the points that were added on the coarse mesh, and in red the ones that were added on the fine mesh. You can see that the 4 points on the left were guaranteed to be safe with the coarse mesh and were not recalculated on the fine mesh. However, the 3 points on the right, which I zoomed in on this figure, among them, the rightmost point is guaranteed to be failed on the fine mesh, and the two others are not guaranteed to be either failed or safe. So we repeated this strategy for 3 levels of fidelity, 4 levels of fidelity, and 5 levels of fidelity, and obtained exactly the same probability of failure independently of the choice of the mesh size. The CPU time was also reduced for any of these simulations. However, we recommend to use only 2 levels of fidelity, as it seems to ensure the most significant computational time reduction. So what is not shown here is that actually we simulated these 9 simulations for 5 different Monte Carlo populations and approximately had the same results. So what you can try to do next is to compute bounds on the probability of failure. For this, we added the hypothesis that G decreases against X, and I plotted the figure for 2 levels of fidelity as before. And what you can see is that the rightmost point is guaranteed to be failed. So with this hypothesis, any points with longer crack lengths should be failed as well. And on the other hand, the fourth point started from the left is guaranteed to be safe. So any points with smaller crack lengths should be safe as well. So it allows to compute the bounds of the probability of failure for each of the 9 simulations, and basically you end up with a lower bound on 4 10 to the minus 3 and an upper bound of 1.6 10 to the minus 2. This was not possible when using AKMCS without the calculation of discretization error bounds, and allows to have more confidence in the calculation of the probability of failure. So to conclude about this work, a multi-fidelity approach to compute a probability of failure exploiting discretization error bounds was proposed. It allows to converge to the same probability of failure as using a monofidelity approach, and it allows CPU time reduction, whatever the choice of possible meshes. Lower and upper bounds on the probability of failure were also computed by adding a motonicity hypothesis. So about the outlooks of this work, I'm working on right now increasing in the number of random variables and going from 1 random variable to 2 random variables. The random variable I added was the angle of the force that is applied to the structure. And basically, I obtain a limit state plotted on the right here. So I would like to thank you for your attention, and feel free to ask me any question. I've written a few of the references I used in this work, and you can see in bold the reference within which this work is included and that was published last year.